Hi, this is Caitlin Classing from Classing Equestrian. I'm here with the July training vlog for Limelight LF, aka Lisi. So if you haven't watched the May training vlog for Lisi, I'd encourage you to go back and kind of take a peek at that. We talked a lot about getting her really established in a basic understanding of the aids going forward from our leg, accepting her hand, and we took it pretty slow with her for the first couple months that we had her in training. And I think you'll see over this course of videos that we're really reaping the rewards of that great understanding that she's starting to develop. So this is probably in early June. We're just having a little jump school with her. And Dan's main focus for the jump school for Lisi today is just having her hold her own rhythm and stay very consistent down to the jump so that she's sort of jumping out of her own balance. And we're doing mostly single fences or longer related lines. Good. And you can see the pace in the stride is a little bit open, but we feel like, especially with the young horses, it's really important to let them jump out of where their balance is naturally rather than feel like you need to, as a rider, manufacture their balance. This is her first horse show outing. We took her down to Lochmoy Farm for a little dressage schooling show. And it's really important for the young horses that first of all, they learn that the expectations away from home are the same as the expectations at home. So she needs to go forward from our leg into contact and stay respectful of those aids. And then sort of along and in hand with that, once they learn that the expectations are the same, then they learn that they can start to relax in this new environment as well, because it doesn't mean that anything too exciting is going on. And here you can see Dan has her at her first cross-country school with us. We knew she'd done some cross-country before, but we just wanted to make sure that same thing, that she had a really good understanding of the basics. So you can see we do a lot from walk. She's kind of walking up and down the bank there so that we make sure that she's not jumping anything out of fear or doing it because we've used speed to sort of keep her going, but that she's really coming down and understanding each of the questions. And now we do some of the single solid fences. And it's the same idea as what Dan's been working on the ring. She has to be able to hold a consistent rhythm and stay in her own balance. And again, we keep the pace in her own balance, but not too quick for the cross country. We don't want her to feel like we're using speed to sort of keep her confident, but rather a real understanding of what we're asking her to do. And here you can see Dan starting with the water. And to start with, rather than just take her right up and try to point her nose at it and get her to walk in, we walk her past it a few times. And then you can see he's going to turn around. He's actually dropped his legs out of the stirrups just so he can kind of really wrap his legs around her. So she's walked past it a few times. She's seen it. And now when she comes up and questions it, he just closes his legs against her side and says, no, you have to keep at least standing at the edge or keep moving your feet. You're not allowed to go backwards, but you can kind of take your time and really understand the question at hand. And then once she's gotten confident in there, once he got her in the water at walk, he kept her walking through the water for a while until she felt really comfortable, and then you're able to leave the ring or the water jump again and have her go back in, staying very confident at trot. So this is a jump school more towards the beginning of July, and you can see that now we're starting to do combinations and turning lines, but at the same time she's keeping a consistent rhythm down to her fences. And she's starting to play around a little bit with jumping fences on the angle as well. But because she's very confirmed in staying in between our leg and our hand, jumping the fences on the angle is no problem because she understands to stay through the aids on the line that we've put her on. And here you can see is her first young event horse class. This was her first sort of bigger horse show atmosphere. We were really happy with how she performed at this event, because you never know with a young horse. Taking her to the little schooling shows and little cross-country outings, it was very low-key. There weren't a lot of horses, but here she had quite a lot to deal with. So the judges' comments were mostly positive, and we were really pleased that she got a qualifying score at this event. Good. And as you go around in the show jumping, you could sort of set a metronome to the canter that Dan's producing with her. It stays very consistent. And I think one of the judges' comments, which you can see coming up here, is that she drops her left shoulder and twists a little bit over the jump. So you can see her there get a little bit crooked in the air over the fences. So for us, that would be something that would be corrected sort of over time. Anytime a young horse shows a little bit of a tendency to waver left or right or get a little bit twisting in the air over the fences, it's generally a sign that when they're coming down to the jump, they're looking to that rein a little bit for balance. So you can see she doesn't obviously do it at every jump, but it's just when Dan has to take a little bit of a feel of her mouth and use a half halt to push her back into balance and back onto her hind end. So the way to correct the straightness is just to make sure that she's traveling comfortably on her own and that you can come down to the fences on a light contact when she's not looking to your hand for balance. And there you can see the change in her with the water jump. She's really understanding it now and going quite boldly through it because we took the time in our first cross-country schooling to make sure that she was confident. And same thing here, going up the bank. She keeps a really consistent rhythm down to it. You don't feel like you need to push her quicker to keep her brave and confident, but that she just keeps a solid, consistent rhythm and carries herself over the bank without any big fuss. So that was the only little naughty moment she had. It wasn't even naughty, but you can see going to cross the road, she just spooks at the change in the ground and change in the footing, and that's just a young horse keeping you on your toes. But again, because Dan had her up in front of the leg, she was able to, sort of keep going forward, even though she was questioning it for a second. So this is the end of her round. We were, like I said, very pleased that she got a qualifying score, and we look forward to sort of keeping you updated as she continues on in her training.